Yes, people. What's going on? It's Eagle Talks Football. We're back again with another video. Today, we're going to do a panel show, and we got a lot to talk about. First things first, we're going to get into Arsenal, of course, and talk about all the injuries, the updates, and everything else going around. And what's our chances now that we got these injured players coming back? What's our actual chances of maybe chasing down and winning the Premier League, and maybe going on to the latter stages of the Champions League and potentially going on to win it? In addition to that, we're going to look at the West Ham game, predict our team lineups and predictions for that. And there's been a new rule change being implemented in football, potentially a blue card. We're going to have to talk about that plus more on today's show. As we come through, we're going to have a great panel for you guys. I'm going to have Northside coming through. I'm going to have my boy Dylan coming through. Harry's going to be coming through. As the show goes on, you're going to see these guys jumping in. But right now we have Dylan backstage. Dylan, how you doing, bro?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. I hope I'm not lagging too much. Got a bit of a different setup today, so hopefully we're all good.
No worries, man. Every time I see you on a stream, it's like it's a completely different setup, so I'm used to it by now.
Yeah, I hope it's not too much of a mess. I'm trying to sort.
You know what? Before these guys get here, I know you're a big fan of Thomas Partey, but even you must say if he can't stay fit for much longer, he's gonna have to be sold in the summer.
Bro. Let's just face it. He's not injured. Let's just face it at this point. Like, let's not be stupid. He's obviously not injured. Like, a man doesn't just get injured like this. Like, let's just not. Like,
bro, he's probably injured because maybe he has a fake age.
Go. Oi! Oh my God. I got a story for these. Like, yeah, cool. I was in a cab on the way to Sunday League last week. Yeah, I've woken up late. I've missed my train. I'm gonna be late for kickoff, so I've had to get a cab on a Sunday League game, right? So I'm in the cab, and this guy notices I'm in an Arsenal tracksuit. He notices I'm off the football, and he's like, "Oh, you Arsenal fan, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, Arsenal are rubbish." I'm like, "Oh, who's for?" And he's like, "Oh, it's for Arsenal." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then a bit odd. And anyway, we're banging on. We're talking. Then he goes on to tell me Thomas Partey. He says, "No, that guy's not 30. He's 37. In Ghanaian years." He said in Ghana, he's 37. He said he left for Europe and got a fake passport to be younger. That's what younger. Apparently he's 37. That was the cab driver.
That makes sense. I'm not gonna lie. There is no way Thomas Partey is 3 years younger than me.
Huh?
There's no way he's 3 years younger than me. It doesn't make sense, right? Am I lying?
Because
there's no way Thomas Partey.
I don't believe he's injured. There has to be something else. I don't believe he's injured. I think you'd be naive to think he's injured of all these times. He's finally come back, yeah, and he's happened to have a setback. Allow it. He's not injured. He's like, I think there's something going on there. But
what do you think is the issue?
Let's not be silly. I think there's other issues behind the scenes. Obviously, he's obviously still dealing with. But as long as I just want it all to be over. To be honest, I want a guy. Yeah, who I know he's going to be in centre mid every game. Him. I'm tired of injury prone. I'm tired of court cases. I just want a centre mid. I know he's going to be in the team every game. That's it at this point. That's all I'm after.
I big up everyone in the chat. I see my man here. Big up to you. I see Meta United in the house saying like the video. People, of course, blue chip Chelsea fan. Man, big up. What's my man saying here? We'll play City away game and tell you free now. What?
I hope so. He said he's telling you. He's saying he's going to play in the City game. He'll tell you that for free. He'll play the City game.
Nah, I don't think he's going to play in the City game. Also, we got Harry in the building. Welcome back, Harry. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
It's been a while since I had you on, man. How you feeling about Arsenal now?
Yeah, I feel all right. Probably the same since we last spoke, or probably a little bit better. The good times aren't officially back, but we feel like we're on the way to those good times. So yeah, feel good. Enjoyed last Sunday's result. Yeah, looking forward to chatting to you guys about it all.
There you go. And we also got Northside in the building, so big up Northside. It's kind of an even panel. Everyone's opinions are quite balanced. We got Northside and Dylan, of course, who are more pessimistic, and then you got me and Harry.
What's pessimistic, Igal? What's pessimistic?
I see you, Dylan, all the time.
Igal, what's pessimistic? No, tell me. What is
bro,
this?
If I watch
you love to run this narrative. What's pessimistic? Please tell me.
What's pessimistic? We win a game, and then you come out after the game, and you're like, okay, let's not get excited now. Calm down.
No.
And then you got other people.
And I came straight out of the stadium singing and off to the pub to celebrate. About the I went straight left the stadium, went straight to the pub to celebrate. About pessimistic. Come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. I did an hour stream. That was like the happiest stream I've done. And I was only given praise for an hour.
Maybe I'm gaslighting you guys. I'm sorry.
This guy.
Maybe I'm gaslighting you guys lightly, but I'll say this: when it comes to criticism, you're not going to hear as much from me and Harry in general. That's all
Why
I'm
is that?
saying. I don't know. I just don't. I just deal with things differently.
Okay.
Everyone deals with things differently. You know what I mean? But let's get into it. There's a lot to talk about. But before we go any further, welcome Northside, of course. Welcome Harry. Welcome Dylan. If you guys
Nice to
don't
meet
know,
you guys. Thank you.
has a TikTok. Harry, I don't know if you guys have been on stream with Harry, but Harry's my boy. We go way back. I think first time I had you on a stream was back when friggin' Aubameyang was putting in own goals versus Burnley. Back then days.
Yeah, the dark days, man. The real
good old
dark
days.
days. Lockdown. Yeah, lockdown and depressing times for sure.
Yeah, man, crazy. But let's get into this. There's been a random rule change rule. Have you guys seen this? I want to start with this before we get into the Arsenal conversation. I don't know if you guys are for or against rule changes, but reportedly they want to introduce blue cards and sin bins. So the way it's going to work is instead of getting a red card or a yellow card, they're going to give you a blue card, then take you out of the game for 10 minutes and introduce you back after that 10 minutes. Instead of sending you off completely, they're just going to send you off for 10 minutes for challenges that they deem not strong enough to be a red, but too harsh to be a yellow. What do you guys think about this decision? I personally think I'm not for these kind of changes anymore. I think they can't even get what they're doing right now. How are they going to get these decisions right? But I'll start with saying.
Who you starting with?
Northside, you.
Me? I actually agree with you. I agree with you. I think it's going to complicate the game. I completely agree with you, bro. They can't even work VAR properly. This is just going to bring more controversy, and I don't see them utilizing it effectively. We're still because what's going to happen is just like with VAR, it's going to be the argument of what is a blue card and what warrants a red card, and then the argument will be on that instead of actually utilizing it in a fair way. Some games you're going to get a blue card, and in other games, just like VAR, some games, it's penalties are given or fouls are given or the goal is given, and other games not. And I think it's going to be the same thing with the blue card. So I completely agree with you actually on this. I don't see the point on it. I don't trust the refereeing in this country to do their job effectively enough for me to say, yeah, okay, cool, let's introduce this. If they were getting VAR and they introduced VAR and used it properly, then I could say, okay, well, you've implemented VAR well. But I'm very skeptical, bro. And I think a lot of fans, I think overall, just like VAR, all fans are going to feel cheated. They're going to feel like it's unjust. Yeah. And why does some players get blue cards and others don't? And do you know what I mean? And I think it's going to be off the reputation. People already talk about reputation in football, where some players that are really rash, the referees are quicker to give him a red card. And we're going to say, because this player isn't a nasty player, he got a blue card instead of getting a red card because he's not deemed to be nasty. Yeah. Instead of taking away the actual point that, was that tackle reckless? Was it a high foot? You know what I mean? Yeah. And that is why I see it getting mixed. I'd rather not. I'm with you on this one. I'd say
yeah. On the same token, footballers have discussed it in the past. They've mentioned the idea of sin bins, and footballers have said, like, I don't know if you've ever been for a run. If you go for a run, yeah, and then you got to stop at the traffic lights, and you can feel your legs are just getting like they're dead, and then when you start running again, your legs feel stiff, or your legs feel like footballers don't want to come off the pitch, stop playing for 10 minutes, then come back on. That's only going to cause more injuries, because once you're playing, you're in the flow of it, and you've got the momentum, and you're playing, you're good. But if you stop for 10 minutes, especially, and then start again after, that's silly. Footballers have said in the past, I think. I can't remember if it might have been Akin Fenwa. It's not the best example for fitness, but yeah, he obviously mentioned in the past it's not something footballers definitely want to see, because it's just it's silly for them fitness wise as well.
Harry, what do you think?
I mean, on that, I assume like if that did happen, players would go to their changing room or dressing room and keep their legs warm on a bike for 10 minutes or something. I can't imagine they'll just have to sit on the bench, right? Because then they'll definitely get injured if they just go from intensity to sit on the bench for 10 minutes. So I imagine they'll do something to prevent injuries. But I'm just reading the article now, and it just says that we're considering trialing it for the FA Cup game. So I can't actually see it being introduced in the Premier League. I'd be really, really surprised if they go for it, because as you guys mentioned, it just adds more confusion, and it also adds more delays and more stoppages. And there's too many blurred lines with what's deemed a yellow card tackle, with what's deemed a red card tackle. So I think even coming to the conclusion of like, is it a sin bin? That will just be a further thing for them to analyse. So from a spectator's perspective, it just adds more stoppages to the game. No disrespect to other sports, but it seems like they're trying to turn it into NFL football or trying to turn it into other sports. And it's not about that. Like, football should be kept as simple as you can make it, to make sure it's an enjoyable spectacle for everyone. So yeah, I'm not for it. I'm not for a sin bin. I just think it's stupid. If anything, I think it cheapens the game. And I can understand why they do it at grassroots level, because if someone gets sent off on a Sunday, you know, it's like football's different at that level, and it gives them a chance to come back on after a sin bin. Or I'm pretty sure
and you're paying to play at that level. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's all more about enjoyment. But at an elite level, it just feels a little bit. It's like a detention, isn't it? Oh yeah, you sworn at me. Go sit there for 10 minutes and come back. It just feels a little bit childish to me.
All right, so next we're going to talk about Liverpool. We smashed Liverpool, guys. We absolutely smashed Liverpool. All you guys must have been happy after that game. I know I was. I spoke to Northside. He was happy also. Dylan, I spoke to you. Harry, I know you were at the game. You were probably buzzing. But guys, we smashed Liverpool. Title race back on now. What are you guys saying? Because I'm saying we have to now be the chasers. For the first time in a long time, we have to be the chasers. Last year we got chased. We didn't end up getting it. This year, we have to be the chasers. We have to go. Maybe it will suit us being the underdogs and going for it from behind.
Go ahead. I've said to you before, yeah. I don't believe being 5 points behind Liverpool at Christmas or being 5 points whenever is what's stopping us from winning the league without the title season. I don't think we can win the league because we haven't seen from our manager that he's capable of that in the past. That's not being 8 points off Liverpool. We were how many points clear in April last year? And Man City still managed to come back in. And Liverpool are no better than Man City. Like, that's not the reason. I just think we haven't got a man who's proven in those latter stages. Because like, I believe he's taken us from D to C and C to B, but can he take us from B to A? That's what we're still yet to see. So we're going to see that in this later part of the season. But right now, I'm not buying it. But I hope so. Because, yeah.
Harry, you hear Dylan there. He's questioning if Mikel Arteta can get us over the line. What do you think about that, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question. And until we win something, these questions will always be asked. Like, you know, that's the bottom line. I think this season the pressure's on because he has to obviously improve on last season's points tally and position, which is no easy feat because you're going against arguably one of the best Premier League teams and best managers and best players in the history of the Premier League in Man City. So it's going to be tough for us to do it. I think Erdegaard said maybe a few weeks ago that we can't afford to lose any games or we can't afford to drop silly points. And that's where we're at now. If we want to win this league, we're going to have to pretty much be faultless. We've probably got room for one defeat, maybe a couple of draws here and there, but we need to go away at City and make sure we don't lose. We need to make sure we beat Chelsea at home. We need to go away at Spurs and make sure we don't lose, and then see where we're at. But I mean, I think we can do it. But once again, we've got to beat the best team with the best striker, the best attacking midfielder, the best DM, the best centre backs, and the best manager in Man City and all of their players. So it's not going to be easy, and we've certainly given ourselves a bigger challenge than last year because we've lost too many games in the first 18. So yeah, only time will tell. But for me, I think Arteta can do it, whether it's this year or next year. But yeah, just have to wait and see what happens this season.
Northside, I'm going to ask you a similar question, but slightly change it. Off the back of the Liverpool game, do you get more confidence in this team going on and pushing on this season, or do you still think there's the underlying concerns that you said before the game?
No, because last season we took 6 points away from them and we still didn't win the league. So this thing of, because we beat Liverpool, we beat them last season and we're still short. The problem is too many things have not been worked on. Our last player as an individual that was a goal scorer, a goal machine, has not been replaced in Aubameyang. Whether you're for him to be at this club or not, we never replaced the goals he brought to this team. Yeah, and we still drop points to Newcastle. We still drop points to Aston Villa. We still drop points to West Ham and Fulham, and we've lost twice to West Ham, which is the next team that we're up against. Then when you look at the players this season, the way that they're performing, Jesus has only got 4 goals and 3 assists. Martinelli, 5 goals, 2 assists. Nketiah, 5 goals, 2 assists. Trossard, 5 goals, 1 assist. When you're looking at the midfield, yeah, in terms of assists, it's dire as well. Odegaard, 3 assists. Jorginho, 1 assist. Fabi Vieira, 1. Havertz, 1. Emil Smith-Rowe, 1. Then when you look at Zinchenko, that's supposedly our creative spark. He's only got 2 assists this season. it's not good enough. When you want to win the league, it's not good enough. And last season, we saw that even being top with 8 points cushion, being top for 93% of the league, it wasn't enough to get us over the line. And we still didn't address getting a striker in the summer when we should have got a striker. And we didn't address it in January. So this is the problem. Let's not forget, a lot of Arsenal fans wanted this bench to be sold for us to get an Osimhen or Ivan Toney. We did not do that. So we have not addressed any of our weaknesses. We've not addressed the things where people said, oh, that's why we lost the league. Even some people said it's because Saliba got injured. Well, we got Kivior. Does anyone put Kivior on the same level as Gabriel and Saliba? No. So we've left ourselves light on that aspect as well. You know, this thing about, oh, we're playing really good football, we always had it in us. We showed it last season. But we don't have the players to push us over the line at the end of the season. With 10 games to go, 15 games to go, we don't have those players. You know, and even when we was playing scintillating football last season, the goals dried up and we weren't able to get it over the line, and we've not addressed those deficiencies. So I still feel like we're in the same situation. And if anything, we're worse because we're now in a European competition. You know, we got Porto coming up. So we were second last season, concentrating on one competition. We are still in two competitions. So we're stretching basically the same squad and the same team. And we're accommodating for Kai Havertz that isn't good enough. And some people think that he had a good game against Liverpool. He had a decent game compared to his games before. But when you cost £65 million and you're one of our highest earners a week, our third biggest signing in this club's history, I'm sorry, link up play and passing the ball isn't good enough. Because when we had Lacazette that was linking up play and was a hard worker, we deemed him not good enough. So why is it all of a sudden with Kai Havertz putting in a shift, he's good enough? What's the difference? It's both the same attributes. But Lacazette was deemed not good enough and Havertz is deemed good enough. We're hoping once again. We've got Reece Nelson to rotate with Saka. None of us really believe that we're going to win the league. If something happens in Saka and we have to rely on Reece Nelson, nobody believes in Reece Nelson like that. You know, and this is the problem. Jorginho had a good game, but can he do it to the end of the season? Well, before this game, I didn't see many people calling for Jorginho to start the game. You know, so this is the problem. Partey's injured. If something happens to Rice, who are we going to go with? El Nene? No one's calling for El Nene. People told us to, make your apologies bigger, make your apologies louder than your criticisms for Eddie Nketiah. I don't hear anyone screaming for Nketiah to be starting. Why? He scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United and he's gone missing. And that is what he does every season. So what has really changed? What has really changed at Arsenal? We've got ESR that we're hoping can do a job. We've got a bunch of players that we're hoping that can do a job. And we've not addressed the weaknesses in this squad. So once again, we're in the same position. If anything, we're worse. Because now we're playing catch-up. Whereas last season, we had a cushion and we still got caught up. So, you know, listen, we can't do nothing now. The transfer window's closed. But over-gassing, beating Liverpool, that's not the game that we dictate where we can measure if we've really got over the line. We struggle against teams that have two banks of four, teams that are very solid and we don't have space in behind and we struggle to break them down. Has this manager worked out a way to unlock defenses and teams when they park the bus? I'd say no. Our goal against Nottingham Forest when we were holding on came when they had a corner and they played a high line. And because they gave us a space in behind, we punished them. But up until that point, we were struggling. 2 games in a row, we're waiting to the 70th minute to put teams to bed. So this is why I'm not getting overgassed, because I can see the whole picture, and the whole picture still is not convincing enough. Too many things have not been addressed.
Okay, Harry, you wanted to respond to that?
Well, yeah, I think there's quite a few points you've made, but I'll just focus on a few of them. With regards to Lacazette, I mean, it's a weird comparison to make because we saw the best of Lacazette and then he progressively got worse over time. So when he was with Aubameyang and they were playing really, really well, I think everyone enjoyed Lacazette and Aubameyang. Like, we loved the celebrations under Emery, we loved the handshakes. I mean, everyone was quite a big fan of Lacazette. And then he slowly got worse, put on some weight, couldn't finish his chances. So it depends what Havertz we're comparing with Lacazette. If we're comparing Lacazette in his last year to Havertz now, I'd probably prefer to have a Havertz. If we're comparing Lacazette at peak than Havertz now, I'd go with obviously Lacazette. But Lacazette at the time would have been 27, 28 in his peak. So, I mean, it's a bit of a weird comparison for me. I think with Havertz, there's no doubt he has to do a lot better. There's no doubt he has to score goals. We need to find a position for him. Has the signing worked? No, it hasn't by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't want to hold someone accountable for the money they're being paid or for the transfer fee, because that's almost separate. Because in the same token, if a player on 40 grand a week has a 10 out of 10 performance, I'm not going to treat that any different because he's on less money. Ultimately, all players should be performing regardless of what they're being paid. And then when it comes to overall goals, I think last season is our highest points tally since the Invincibles. And we scored the most goals last season that we have in like 15, 20 seasons. I might be wrong by a few goals, but pretty much. So we have replaced Aubameyang because we scored 80-something goals last season. With Aubameyang, we didn't do that as far as I'm aware. I think past couple of years before that, it was so. I mean, it just depends how we want to kind of how we want to tarnish Arteta, or how we want to paint it. But ultimately, we've just learned to split the goals a little bit more. So the reason why we're down this season is because Martinelli and Saka and Ødegaard aren't scoring. That's why we're down on goals.
But splitting the goals, just to reply to that, because he replied to something that I said. Just to reply to that, you're saying that we split the goals around. We have nobody that is a clinical goal scorer, so we're always going to be short. And when we have no,
we scored 88 goals last season. We scored 88 goals last season.
We're not able to score enough goals because we have no focal point. That is a weakness within our.
But we scored, but we scored 88 goals last season.
Let him respond, and then you'll get his full point.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we scored all those goals, but we didn't get over the line. So why not go out there and get somebody that's able to be clinical enough? I think everybody was in accordance that we needed a striker, and we could see why. Because when the way that these players score goals is because of the system. We have seen teams have 2 banks of 4 and nullify our system, which means we do not get the goals and we don't get the win over the line. And this is why you need a focal point. This is why you need a striker with limited service, with limited space in the box, can find the goal. And we do not have that. And then you're talking about what you said about me comparing Havertz to Lacazette. I'm comparing because a lot of Arsenal fans have now come to the conclusion that Havertz's best position, more effective position, is playing as a striker. Now, even a roaring Lacazette, his best tally was 14 goals in a season. That wasn't good enough to get us over the line. And it's the same with Jesus. So I could even compare it to Jesus. That is not good enough to get you over the line. And this is the problem with Havertz. I don't think he's as good in terms of his build-up play as Lacazette. I don't think he's as good as a passer. And his goal ratio, I don't even think he's going to get 14 goals. Jesus will probably get 14 goals because Jesus' best stats at Arsenal and at Man City is 14 goals in a season. And that's not good enough to get us over the line. So the thing is, the point is, I'd bring up the price because that money could have been put towards getting a striker that would give me a lot more than Kai Havertz.
That's what
There's too many games where we're carrying Kai Havertz. That is the problem. People are talking about, because he's got 4 goals this season. But the majority of the games that he's played, we have carried him. And when he doesn't score, he offers you nothing. He's a very frustrating player. And he doesn't offer me enough goals to justify only being a goal scorer. I think that's more towards somebody like Aubameyang, where he doesn't offer you anything, but he offers you goals. One season with a toxic squad, he's getting golden boot with Harry Kane. So that is the problem. When this manager is spending that much money on a player like Havertz, and that is all he's offering me, and even in goal scoring, I cannot depend on him. Even that goal that Saka scored, it was a rebound from Havertz. He should have scored that one-on-one with the goalkeeper. That is not a great return on a player like that. And that is why I bring up the money, and I bring up what this player is bringing me isn't good enough.
Yeah, no, listen, I agree 100% on Havertz. I agree 100%.
Let Dylan jump in.
I agree with the point quickly on with the goal scorer, but I would say the thing is of Jesus, I think what people are, I think a lot of people are directing a lot of the lack of goals at Jesus, and honestly, I think last season, like you said, when we were scoring loads of goals, I don't think anyone was blaming Jesus for our lack of goals. We were scoring loads of goals, and I think it's because of Jesus. I just think Martinelli and Saka have been particularly poor this season. I think Martinelli and Saka on the end of, because Jesus is playing just as well as he was last season in my eyes. I don't think he's really doing much different. I think he's playing his game, and he's obviously doing what Arteta's telling him to do. Yeah, he needs to finish more of the chances he's getting, like this chances at Forest when he's hitting the post, should really be putting them away. But at the same time, like, you know what you're going to get with him. And last season, he was like just as clinical as he is now in my eyes, but we were scoring way more goals. Saka and Martinelli have definitely been the ones that are off it this season. And like, people will bring the numbers, like the numbers for Saka this season. But when you actually look at the goals and assists Saka's getting, like you can look at the goal he scored against Liverpool, the ball's hit the goalkeeper and it's bounced to him with an open goal. You can look at the goal against Bournemouth when it's deflected off the post and he's nodding it in from where the quality, like a lot of our forward lines goals have not been. It's not been because of the free flowing football like it was last season. It's because of almost luck in a naive way to say. But and especially with the Havertz point, obviously you mentioned 65 million on him as a drag. like there's obviously the 30 million on Raya as well. I don't think it was that good. And then when you put that money together, you've got basically 100 million, which we could be spending on. Like I think we need a midfielder more than we need a striker. I feel like we need someone who can replace Partey more than we need a striker, because I feel like Jesus is not a bad player, and Arteta clearly wants a Bobby Firmino, Jesus style player to play this system. And if he's not going to go and get someone else who can do it, he's not going to go and get a, you know what I mean, like an Aussie man or an Ivan Toney. So I think the main thing we actually need to replace is Thomas
probably
Partey.
will.
Without that guy, we are niche without that guy, honestly.
Okay. So I hear a lot of questions about the squad, and I agree generally with the majority of the questions about the squad. We all know about the fact that we need a striker. So are you guys saying we're a couple pieces away from being that amazing team that we are? Or are you saying there's still major holes? Because to me, it sounds like you're more questioning the squad.
We need Partey back.
One second. We're going to talk about Partey in a second. But it sounds like you guys are more questioning the squad than the manager, because I always hear people talking about the manager, questioning the manager. But now it seems more about the squad than the actual manager. Because are you guys starting to get more belief that Mikel Arteta is pushing this team in the right direction, and with the right players, we can win the league? Or are you still questioning if we can ever do it with the manager?
He's spending the money in the wrong places, though.
I guess he's spending money in the wrong places, but I'll let Northside go first.
Like you say, I think he's not even doing an awful job of. He's not doing an awful job of coaching.
I think he's doing a great job.
He'll be the man to win us. I don't think he's. Well, yeah, you say that, yeah, but I think he's taken an Arsenal football. He's taken an Arsenal Football Club to title competitors. I mean that is the standard. But like at the same time, I don't think I don't think he has what it takes to win us a Premier or Champions League. I'm here for it, but I don't think he will. That's just my opinion. But I just think it's stuff like signing a backup goalkeeper when our goalkeeper's literally in the Premier League team of the season. Like he's bringing in a new keeper, branding it as his footwork's better, when Ramsdale's best attribute is playing the ball out of his feet. Like
the reason why he wanted to do that.
It is. That's what it was branded as.
It wasn't an ego thing. It wasn't an ego thing. That if the player's not listening to your instructions, we want ruthlessness. Have we not asked for ruthlessness? Apparently, he's saying Ramsdale wasn't listening to his instructions, and he brought in Raya because he's willing to listen to his instructions.
One thing I've noticed at games, I don't know if you notice it as much on the telly, David Raya collects crosses, and he holds. And Martinelli, I doubt you'll notice it on the TV. Martinelli's always like, give me the fucking ball, give it, like he's screaming for it, and then you get the whole wing thing, like flipping it. Saka's doing the same thing. Ramsdale, whether Arteta wanted it or not, will get the ball and he'll launch it, and he's got it in his locker the same way David Raya does. He's got it in his locker, and you saw in the Liverpool Cup game after about 2 minutes, he zings it into who was it? Nelson. When he zinged it straight over the top to Nelson.
He did it in the Liverpool
that's not what Arteta wanted. Arteta might have wanted Saliba and Gabriel to pass it about for 3 minutes, but he nearly created a goal. He's got it in his locker.
You know what? We're going to come to Northside.
Ramsdale can do what Raya can do.
We're going to come to Northside in a second, but let Harry wanted to say something quickly. What are you saying, Harry?
Yeah, listen, I think it's fine margins between Raya and Ramsdale. And as you said, fans often accuse Arteta of not being ruthless enough, and he's shown some ruthlessness. But obviously, because some of the fans don't agree with the decision, they question the signing. But I think there's stats to prove that Raya is better than Ramsdale with his feet. There's also stats to prove about his claiming on crosses and distribution. So I think I agree it's a marginal improvement. But the fee is pretty marginal. I don't think the fee kicks until next year, so I don't think it took away from our transfer budget. And we'll probably make profit on Ramsdale, or when we do sell Ramsdale for around 25, 35 million, that covers the Raya fee. And I liked Ramsdale, I did. But when we looked at the reasons why we lost the title last season, there was a few factors, and one of them was Ramsdale. He made some mistakes in some key games, and
he made some amazing saves.
No, he did. No, I know, of course. But if we're like, when I listen to a lot of Arsenal fans, we always tell me why Arteta can't win the league as opposed to why he can. So if I say to you, well, the reasons why we lost the league last season were obviously injury to Saliba, Saka missed penalty, 2-0 up at Anfield, Southampton at home, West Ham away. And when you look at those games and you look at the way Ramsdale started this season, he let in too many simple goals. And Arteta believes that, do you know what, I can improve in that goalkeeper area. It might be marginal, but I can improve. And there's not to mention that Ramsdale's a highly emotional keeper. And I don't think that helps his case in terms of actually focusing on the task in hand. Big fan of Ramsdale, great keeper for us. But, Arteta wants to win the league, and he sees that as a place where we can improve. And then if we think that takes away from other signings, then fair enough. But what I'll say to you is we saw a lot of strikers.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. Do you think a goalkeeper would have been priority going into this season with what we need? Do you think it should have been priority? Maybe
not. But if he saw the fact that Spurs wanted Raya and then Bayern Munich wanted Raya, he probably thought, do you know what? it's a good time to pounce. It's also a good time to build relationships with Brentford if we want to get Ivan Toney next year. And when we look at other signings that went into other clubs and strikers over the past couple of years, when we talk about bagsmen, who are they? Because Osimhen wasn't going to leave this season. Nunes went to Liverpool and he's not a bagsman. Hoylers went to Man United and he's not necessarily a bagsman. So we talk about these strikers. No, I think he's a good player. But what I'm saying is that he's not going to get you those 30 goals that you want straight away. I don't believe he will. Maybe he will. But
just so we don't get too far away from the topic.
Sorry, go on.
What were you saying, Northside, on this topic? Do you think you mentioned the squad a lot? You mentioned a lot about the squad. I didn't hear much about Arteta. So are you starting to believe once the squad is filled up, say next season we go and get 2 midfielders, we go and get one more defender, we go and get a striker, and we do that business? You think Mikel Arteta now has the team to go and compete, and there's no excuses, and you think he can now deliver?
I think there's different aspects to management, and this is why I don't rate this manager. It's how you manage your squad, how you assemble your team, and how you plug holes and man management. And I think that he ain't good enough in all of them. He ain't good enough, and I'll tell you why. Like I said, you got rid of Aubameyang. Whether he's right or wrong, I'm not even going to say whether he's right or wrong. You have to replace that striker for another striker that can give you that. It's all fine having Jesus, but you need more. To go into the season and Saka's hitting his like 90th appearance in a row and expecting him not to have a dip or get injured or be fatigued is a lack of poor management once again. Re-signing Reece Nelson, who has been stinky out on loan, but getting rid of Balogun. Now, as much as I don't think Balogun is the answer, neither is Nketiah, because Nketiah has never shown himself to be consistent enough to be at Arsenal. But you get rid of Balogun, that had a good loan spell, that teams actually are out for, and you keep Nketiah. That is bad management once again. Whether you rate Pepe or not, Pepe is 20 times the player of Reece Nelson. He's a better player. Let's not forget his run in the Europa League in getting us to the final, scoring goals outside the box, inside the box. He's not a complete player, but he's a better rotation than Reece Nelson, because Reece Nelson, the best attribute is running around. That's not good enough when you're trying to go for the title. That's poor management. Going out there and spending big money on Fabi Vieira instead of getting someone like a Maddison is poor management, because you could have got Maddison at a cut price, and Maddison's absolutely sourcing. Bad management once again, bad decision making. Getting Lokonga, putting him out on loan. Getting Untavaj, putting him out on loan. Getting Marquinhos, putting him out on loan when you could have got Marquinhos for a free.
Find a pair of Americans that never even played.
Yeah.
But
this is bad management. Yeah.
But Northside, you're judging him on transfers.
Aren't good enough. Knowing that your centre back options aren't strong enough outside of our starting centre back pairing. Knowing that we, as he said, bottom left. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. Like he said, one of the big reasons why we didn't win the league last season is because Saliba got injured. Why are you not addressing that? There's so many things that he is not addressing. Going and getting a midfielder that can do what Xhaka does and do more. Whether that was Declan Rice or whether that you was going to move Partey there, we still need rotation, because you're just getting player for player if you rotate Xhaka. We needed still a bench. Still having a bench that is ineffective. We're looking at Nketiah for goals. We're looking at ESR to create something from the midfield. These are players that have not done it. They're not proven. And you're going into another season with these unproven players. That's not good enough. Re-signing El Nene for what? What has he ever done? He's not good enough. Going out there and getting and keeping Cedric instead of releasing him and selling Cedric because he's not of the level. This is the problem with Arteta. It ain't good enough. I give him props when props is due with the Trossard signing, with the Declan Rice signing, but we had multiple holes. That is not good enough. Reverting back to this controlled system, very similar to what the football that we saw in phase 1, now in phase 4, that's not effective. Instead of in 4 years as a manager realizing that this team like to express themselves, they like to go forward and they like to attack. That's how you get the best out of this team. That's why we were 93% of the league in front. Not understanding that, not doing what is required in the transfer window and getting us the players that we need. This is neglect from Arteta, because it's Arteta that was on Sky Sports saying that me and Edu come together to get signings over the line for this club. So when everybody wants to say, oh, Arteta bought Trossard, Arteta bought Rice, we have to criticize when you're buying players and loaning them out, because we have a lot of players that are loaned out. when we need to address this bench? Why are you spending money on players that you're loaning out when we need to address the bench that is not effective enough? Let's not forget when we rotated this whole squad, yeah, in the easiest Champions League group against PSV, the best this bench could do is get a 1-1 draw against PSV. That's when we rotated almost everybody. That is not good enough because PSV is not the level of the Champions League. Where would PSV finish in the Premier League? And this is the problem. There's too many things that show me why I did not want this manager. He's not experienced enough. And you know what the ultimate thing is? We have a self-sustained, we're run self-sustained just like Liverpool. Klopp won the Champions League and the Premier League with £500 million spent. By the time he spent £500 million, he had a Premier League and a Champions League. This manager is £640 million down the hole, and we're yet to see one major honour. Why? Because he's not good enough. He's not had his stripes, and he's trying to earn his stripes here at Arsenal, and it ain't good enough. If you're going to do the self-sustaining thing, we should have learned from Liverpool and gotten a manager that is at least proven, at least won something for us to get behind, instead of a whole novice. Because you cannot replace. We spent £65 million on Kai Havertz. We don't have money for a striker. And this is why I critique every signing that comes at Arsenal. Because it's not like we buy and then we could just replace. We're not Man City. So we do have to be more on top of the type of signings or re-signings that we do here at Arsenal. And for me, Mikel Arteta is just not good enough. He's not addressed our weaknesses. The bench, nor getting a striker. And this is why ultimately, for me, I don't believe that this manager is going to get us over the line, because there's nothing, even in 4 years, there's nothing to show me that he's good enough to get us over the line.
I don't even know if we're going to ever get to the West Ham game, but we're going to have to stay on this for a second. Everyone, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done that. The link is in the description, of course, to SofaScore, which is the best football app and, of course, channel sponsor. So make sure you guys do download that if you can. But first things first, let me just get to the super chat. This this guy is seriously crying about Ramsdale. Dylan, I think they're talking about you there. Do you want to respond to the super chat quickly?
Mate, Ramsdale, yeah. Listen, I don't think Ramsdale is the goalkeeper of a Champions League, Premier League winner. I don't think Ramsdale is. I think Ramsdale's a good keeper. But my point is that we are. Let's not say. Obviously, you can say we haven't spent much. We are going to spend that 27 million on Raya. I'm pretty sure it's even already been activated. We are going to pay 30 million for Raya. I just don't think in a team where Arteta looked at it last season, saw how bad we are when we haven't got Saliba or Gabriel. So instantly you can see we need a centre-back of their quality to push them. Because Man City have got about 6 centre-backs that push the same quality as the starting 11. Yeah, we've got none. We genuinely, Gabriel or Saliba get injured, we've got none. And don't tell me about
name the 6 centre-backs.
He's too afraid.
Name the 6 centre-backs.
Oh, mate, 6 might be a drag, but they've got what? They've got a Kanji who can play there. They've got Diaz that can play there. Last season as well, they had Laporte. They've got Gavardio now. They've got John Stones. They've got.
Let me name ours.
Have I mentioned that?
We got Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Tomiyasu, Cavior. All can play centre back.
Right.
All can.
Kiwior's not of the level. Kiwior's not of the level.
Kiwior is a backup.
No. Egal. Ben White is too. Ben White. We saw Ben White in 22, 23, 21, 22. It weren't it. It was not it.
You're naming Akanji and you're naming Ake, who play on the wing. You're paying Gavardio.
Yeah, but they can play there. They can play centre back. Ben White.
I'm telling you guys that our defense at this moment in time is not our issue. We can complain about the attack.
It is because the
defense is the last thing we need to complain about.
Tell me, if Saliba or Gabriel go down tomorrow, who comes in at centre back?
You rotate. You play Tomiyasu in centre back. You play Tomiyasu in centre back. You play.
One second. Tomiyasu at centre back is accomplished. That's madness to say things. He plays for his national team at centre back.
You play Ben White.
He's a right back though. He's not.
One second. I'm giving you options. Listen, the only defender who we have in our back line who doesn't play as a centre back is Zinchenko. Every other player is versatile. The reason why we have these players is for that tactical versatility. Ben White not only can play as a right back, he can play as a right centre back.
Yeah, but that's still a weakness though. Go. When you're good at numerous positions, that means you're not established. You see Gabriel or Saliba, yeah? They're top centre backs. Can they play left back or right back?
So one of the best defenders in history was a left back and a centre back.
I'm saying when your abilities are spread out like this and you're not even a world-class footballer, then you're like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you're not.
Bro,
Yeah, but to the level, I think it's to the level, Gal. You know what it is? It's what level. This is the thing when people say players can play multiple positions.
In the world,
Ben White was not the level, which is why we pushed him to the right as a centre back. He was not proven in this Arsenal team as a centre back.
Or he's more valuable
than him as a right back. Yeah, that's a fact.
On Northside, maybe he's more valuable there.
No, but this is what I'm saying. You're saying that these players can play as a centre back. But what is the quality that you're going to get out of them? For example, if Ben White plays as a centre back in a game, what are you going to get for him? Probably a 5 out of 10. If you play him as a right back, you might get a 7 or an 8. That's a substantial difference. Just because a player can play a position doesn't mean he can play it effectively. When you're talking about somebody
that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to
when
tell
you're
you.
talking about somebody like Zinchenko, especially Zinchenko. One sec, bro. When you talk about Zinchenko, bro, we all know his game, is going forward. So defensively, he's a liability. If he's a liability defensively as a right back, trust me, he's going to be defensively a liability as a centre back. So those are two options that you brought up. That defensively in that position, they aren't good enough. More Zinchenko than Ben White, but Ben White was not proven.
Zinchenko as a centre back, by the way. I mentioned everybody else bar Zinchenko on Northside. I was
Even
really
Tomiyasu.
saying Timber, Tomiyasu, Kavior, and Ben White all can cover centre back. So I don't think
Kavior and Ben White are not good. Can
I ask a question? Can I ask a question quickly? How highly do you rate Saliba in terms of like world football centre backs or Premier League? You'd say top 3, right?
Top.
He's up there.
How many centre backs in the Premier League are better than Saliba?
Not many.
Maybe
no.
Van Dijk.
Not
Van
even.
Dijk.
I wouldn't even say players like Van Dijk and Diaz are necessarily better than him, but I just put him in.
All right, cool. So it's really, really hard to find players who can replicate the ability of Saliba. Just how it's impossible to replace Vieira or impossible to replace Thierry Henry. You have to try to find players who can come in for a moment and who are also happy to come in for a moment and do that job. It's a bit like saying, oh, well, Pepe's better than Nelson. All right, well, he might be better than Nelson, but Nelson has a better attitude, is a better asset to the squad, enjoys being a backup player, whereas Pepe, it just sulks. So it's like, with Saliba and stuff, it's like, well, of course, it's going to be really, really hard to get players who can step in and do the exact same job as Gabriel and Saliba because they're two really, really good centre halves. And also, how do you sign a player? How do you sign a player who is almost as good as them and say, "Cool, I love you, you're great, but you're going to be on the bench until one of these guys gets injured"?
Well, we had no problem getting Rice, even though we had Partey. And last season, Top Gooners were telling me that Partey's up there as this best CDM. So at the end of the day,
yeah, but I don't speak for. I want
to say something else. Trossard as well is up there with Martinelli as well. We had no problem there. So this whole thing, even with the Invincibles, we had players that could do more than a job when required. So this whole thing about you can't assemble a team that can push the starting lineup is a myth. No. I'm not saying. What I'm saying, no.
Declan
Rice may have come in. If you're Declan Rice, you may think, "How am I going to get a game?" Hold on a sec. As Declan Rice, you may think, "How am I going to get a game?" Yes, I won. I won something with West Ham. I'm coming into an Arsenal team that got second last season with Partey playing. Am I going to get a game? We don't know. He doesn't know that Partey is going to get an injury. If Partey's fit, he may not know if he's going to get a game. He may believe in himself.
Northside. You know
that Martinelli is one of Arteta's favourites. So why are you coming to the football club? You're coming to the football club because it's a bigger club. It's a step up in your career, and you have the quality. So we don't complain about rotation in those positions. So we can have the same logic to other positions as well. I've seen this club have players on the bench like the Invincibles, like when we was winning league doubles, that can come in and do more than a job. More than a job. When I'm asking for a centre back that can actually rotate and push the lever, it doesn't have to be the level of a Ben White that's proven to me that he cannot perform as a centre back. That makes no sense.
I disagree with so much of that. I think what I'm saying to you is that there'll probably always be a marginal drop off. I think Tomiyasu can come in and do a job centre back. I think Ben White can come in and do a job centre back. You don't, and that's fine. But then to accuse that of some fans not wanting us to strengthen the squad, I just think is incorrect. And with Trossard and Martinelli, you're right. But Martinelli knows he's going to start most games, and Trossard knows he's happy to be a bench warmer. With Declan Rice and Thomas Partey, I don't
want that though. I don't want a man who's happy to warm bench. Like I'd rather they were sulking on the bench, and when they came on, at least they got some kind of fire in their belly. If you've got a man who's happy to be on the bench, then the likelihood is then he's happy to collect.
You have a good squad player.
But a good manager,
but that's what I'm saying.
A good manager doesn't say that this is my set team. A good manager says every position's up for grabs. Because then we see, like when Trossard came off the bench, he came off with a point to prove. And that is the difference with a man that can actually stand up to the other player that's playing ahead of him. He came on and he scored that goal. Why? Because I want to be the main man. And that is the attitude you need around your team if you're going to win. Not a man that said, oh, I'm happy to be on the bench. We had Rob Holding for many years, happy to be a backup. Where did he take us? Where did he take us? Those type of players take you backwards. We've seen it at Man United as well. Phil Jones, happy to be a backup dancer. We've seen all these players that are happy to be a backup. El Neni, happy to be a backup dancer. The attitude should be, the manager should say, there is nobody that starts. It's based on how you train and how you perform on match day. Whoever performs starts. It shouldn't be that, oh, if you're bringing this team, oh, you're second to Martinelli. If Martinelli's dropping stinkers, Trossard should play. If Partey's dropping stinkers, Rice should play. That is how it should be. It shouldn't be that.
Let me just say something quickly. I feel like we are judging Mikel Arteta harshly on the squad. The squad building and everything around the building of the squad should not be the beyond end all of why you don't want this manager. The reality is, people don't want Mikel Arteta because he's lack of experience. I hear it. People don't want Mikel Arteta because we didn't win the league last year and we might end this season if we don't win it. Fair enough. But if you're just going to solely judge him heavily on everything else, plus start mentioning things that are somewhat out of his control, because he doesn't have all the power over every single move. There is certain situations where you have to just manage with what cards you're dealt. And I felt like that's what he's been doing with some of the players.
He's been dealt nearly £1 billion.
Listen, that's not even.
That's how much. One second, but that's how much it costs to compete with one of the best teams in the country, in the world, in Man City. I think one second.
Just to be fair, let's bring up some of the positives also, because I feel like with the manager, when we talk about the negatives, we don't bring up the fact that he got us going from 8th to competing. I know you guys are gonna now say, "Oh, who got us in 8th in the first place?" It wasn't Mikel Arteta. It was Arsene Wenger and Unai Emery. The guy came, he immediately won us.
Unai Emery didn't finish at 8th though.
Unai Emery.
I know he didn't. That's because we got rid of him. Probably would have finished about 12th.
Unai Emery put us in the hole that we were in.
Okay, cool. But the same thing, when you're talking about Unai Emery, I think that's a bit unfair because Unai Emery didn't have 4 years to build his team.
Guess what?
You guys are leveraging.
I am not holding him solely accountable.
No, but hold on, because you just said something about Unai Emery, and I think that's unfair, bro. Because when it's Mikel Arteta, he needs 4. What the hell?
Oh, Dylan, just mute your thing.
Yeah, when it was Mikel Arteta, what was the excuses? Oh, the reasons. Let's say reasons. He needs to build his own team. Unai Emery didn't get that. When Unai Emery wanted, even when he wanted his signings on the year, when he wanted to get Zaha, we went for Pepe. He didn't get four seasons to rebuild a team that everybody said
he inherited
a toxic and negative squad. And even with that toxic and negative squad, he still got to a European final. This manager has not won anything since he's rebuilt his team. He has not got to a European final. And Unai Emery had a toxic and negative squad. Now, I'm not saying that Unai Emery is world class. What I'm saying is, if you make an argument for one manager, you have to make it for the other, because if Arteta inherited a toxic squad, so did Unai Emery. If Arteta's not getting backed in all his signings, neither did Unai Emery. And Unai Emery had less time to prove himself at Arsenal. So that's a little bit unfair.
But that's because, I mean, that's because the board didn't believe in Emery. That's because the players didn't believe in Emery. That's because the fans didn't believe in Emery. So you get what you deserve. The reason why Arteta has been backed is because he's clearly come with a philosophy. And the reason why the backing has been true until then is because, like I said at the start, we have had our highest points tally since the Invincibles, or one of the highest points tallies since the Invincibles. We scored the most goals last season. And for the 25-minute, not 25-minute rant that you're saying, but for the 25-minute podcast you listen to, of all the things that Arteta does wrong, all of these things, and you bring up Cedric and Pepe, and we go back to Emery and all of this stuff, we're still now 3 points off Man City. So the list of the things that Arteta has done wrong is like this long, yet we're 3 points off Man City. So it doesn't add up.
Okay,
I'm just saying though.
Let's take it away from Arteta. Was Arsenal fans saying it's unjust when when Man United got rid of Ole? No, he was given money to spend. When you get the money, you don't produce, you don't get over the line. And let's not forget, Ole got second one season with Man United.
Ole loves the dressing room.
Ultimately, when he got sacked, is because he didn't deliver. When you're given money, Lampard was given money. The first season he had kids, he was given money to invest. When he didn't get over the line, he got sacked. Arsenal fans, I never saw Arsenal fans saying that's unjust. When we judge our rivals, we never say it's unjust when the manager's sacked when they don't win anything.
Because every situation's different, Northside. Every situation's different. Every situation's different.
Poch wasn't given money like that to really compete. Arteta has been given time and money. So when we look at our rivals and we don't say it's unjust for them to get rid of their manager because the manager didn't deliver, and we all say, oh, but what did that manager win? It's the same with Arteta. You can't leverage at your rivals. Oh, you're giving money, you didn't compete. Oh, give him time. It's not. It's completely fair that he got sacked. But when it's Arteta, no, give him more time. Especially when this whole fan base compared this manager to Klopp. They said, oh, it took Klopp 4 years, which is why this season he better deliver. Because I didn't make that comparison. A lot of this fan base.
But every situation is different. Every situation
it's not because we're running the exact same way, self-sustaining. Just like
let me just say this. Let me just say this. 1 second. I hear everybody's points, but I just want to simply say, Mikel Arteta, I'm not even going to sit here and just say, oh, he should be sacked or anything like that. It's not about him being sacked. He's clearly not going nowhere. He's meeting the objectives at this moment in time, pushing Arsenal to the level of a City and a Liverpool, having us at the top of the table, challenging for the league. This season, we're also going to be expected to be one of the top teams in the Champions League, competing to try to win the Champions League. So I wanted to get there now. What do you guys think about Arsenal's hopes to now push on maybe in the cups? Because we are in the Champions League. Competition. The cup, yeah, the major cup. Because this is Arsenal's Achilles heel. We have not won a Champions League. Once we win a Champions League, people will finally put some respect on our name and stop disrespecting us the way they do at this moment in time as an organization. Because I see a lot of disrespect towards the Arsenal Football Club as a whole entity because we haven't won the Champions League. So that is another thing over our head. Do you guys believe this team, as currently constructed, is good enough to even compete to win the Champions League? Let alone
that game of the weekend, that game of the weekend, and the game especially against Man City, and honestly, home games in general over the last 2 years have given me genuine hope that for home legs we're good. If we're 2-0 down, if we're 2-1 down against any team, I feel like we can make something happen. Yeah, but you see, going away to the Bernabeu, or going away to the Allianz, or going away to the Etihad if we have to get them, it's long. But we do have a new tool that we can use. Thomas Partey might be back. Tomiyasu's coming back. Timber's going to be back. We're going to have a better bench. We're going to have a better bench. If we get Madrid, he's not playing. If we get flipping, like it's just like, you know what I mean. He's not injured, man. I don't believe.
Forget about the rumors. Forget about all the BS. Take it as face value. Arsenal have Timber, Tomiyasu, and Partey back for the second half of the season for the Champions League run. Do you have more faith in this team to do anything in the Champions League? Harry,
I think we'll beat Porto. I think we'll beat Porto. I think if we don't beat Porto, I doubt I'll listen. I'm going to give Arsenal any chance. If we lose that game, I swear to God. Oh my.
Okay, let me just pull up the ties in the Champions League right now. For example, say we beat Porto, right, and then we get a Real Sociedad or a PSG, aren't you, or friggin' Bayern Munich or Dortmund? Don't you think we can beat those teams? Crickets.
We couldn't beat Sporting.
Bayern Munich. I don't know about Bayern Munich. I don't know
about.
Bayern
I think North side. People are going to cook me for this. People are going to cook me for this. I know people are going to try to cook me for this, but I genuinely believe we play Bayern Munich over 2 legs right now with our current team. We beat them.
But I don't think it's not on paper, bro. I don't think it's on paper. I think it's in here. Why could we not beat Sporting Lisbon and Olympiacos? I don't think it's on paper.
Because our team last year, bro, I was there. Once again, I was there. Harry was at the game. Saliba and Tomiyasu getting injured, and a goal from the halfway mark took us out of that cup. It was, and we lost.
What tells you we're not going to have another injury this season?
No, bro,
we're slightly better prepared this season, though, aren't we?
We're slightly better prepared. Defensively, we're one of the best teams in Europe right now.
Yeah,
no joke.
When they're fit.
We are, but we still lost to Lons, didn't we?
Yeah, but then we
still lost to them. That's not a lie. I'm not making it up, am I? We still lost to them.
But we slapped them 6-0 and went top of the group.
But bro, with the same squad, we didn't win the Europa League last season, did we? So
no,
we got the same squad though. We got a better squad this year.
You can't say that we went out of the Europa League and we didn't win the league because we lost Saliba. But then on the same token, tell me that if Saliba gets injured, we've got Ben White and Tomiyasu who can do a job. If they can do a job, then it's no issue if there's injuries.
Okay,
but so if we get an injury,
then you guys don't believe the team is good enough to win the Champions League. So if we do get knocked out,
no, I believe this team is quality. It can win. It can do things. The squad cannot win champion. Can we not win Premier League?
Can I ask a question? Do you think
Go on.
Liverpool aren't in the Champions League? Are they? No, they're not. But if Liverpool were in the Champions League, could they win the Champions League without Van Dijk?
No.
Yeah. Do you reckon Man City can win the league this year? Sorry, win the Champions League if Haaland gets injured?
Haaland?
No, they won the
Sorry,
Champions League.
if Haaland.
Yeah.
But do you reckon they could go the whole? But so like there's gonna be a few players who, if we lose, they're gonna be like detrimental to how we play, because some important players are really important, like a Saliba or maybe like a Declan Rice. But I think to win the Champions League, it's gonna be really, really hard anyway. And for Arsenal fans to like demand Champions League or bust, in my head, is bonkers, because we haven't won the Champions League ever. And
Why
did we move stadium though? Hold on a sec. Why is it hold on. No. Hold on. And this ain't my words. Before people get upset with me.
Yeah, Dylan,
why did we move stadium? To be like the European elites, to win major honors. So for us to demand that is because the club promised us that. So
yeah, I know, but
what the club said.
I know, but
if we're not good enough at this current moment, that's not my problem. That's not my problem.
I know what you're saying. North side, but I know what you're saying. But for someone that seems to understand PR so much, you'll understand that quote from Hillwood or Gazidis, whoever it was, that is PR. So, for example, when you watch a film or the trailer, it says the biggest blockbuster of the year, even if it's not the biggest blockbuster of the year.
So is this project PR as well? Because I think it is. I don't know. It's up to you.
It's up to you.
But you think this is at the final hurdle?
Oh,
you think we're at the finish line? Because we're not at the finish line. You mentioned.
I asked him a question. I'm not going to reply. I just said, is this phase 4 not PR? Because we've had 3 youth projects in the last 20 years. Yeah, and none of it. Hold on, I want to hear what Harry. Let Harry as because I'm asking him a question and then I'll shut up. We've had 3 youth projects, yeah, and we have not won major honors with the youth project. We had a youth project with Wilshere, we had a youth project with Fabregas. We're now onto another youth project. We've not seen a complete youth project win the Premier League. Even the class of '99 had proper players and experienced players within them. We don't have many proven winners, yeah. So what makes me what should I hold on to that with a youth project once again at my football club, because I was born in '92. What makes me believe that a youth project in the Premier League, which is an anomaly, even including the class of '99, is going to get us over the line? You said it was a PR. I think this is a PR. I don't think that this manager is good enough to get us over the line, and I don't believe in repeating what's failed in the past is going to make you successful in the future, because I've seen this before.
Hit the like button, people. We're going to go into the Arsenal West Ham preview right after this. But the question is, with the injuries and with the improvements of the squad over the last year and the possible returns from injuries, do you believe Arsenal can secure either the Champions League or the Premier League? We kind of got off track, but everyone seems. I
just wanted to hear his response. Real talk. I was going to shut
up. Just so I'm clear, Northside and Dylan are saying we can't win these cups, these competitions. With the current construction,
with the North Side, with the Project Youth thing, like I don't see it. Like I don't think I've been fed this big like PR movie from Arsenal saying these are our projects and this is what's going to happen after year 1, year 2, year 3. That's nothing that I have personally heard, and that's nothing that I hold the club accountable to. Just like when Gazidis or Hillwood says we want to compete with Bayern Munich or we plan to compete with the best teams in the world, I don't go, oh my God, you said that. That's definitely got to happen. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be unhappy forever. I think since Arteta's come in, I can only talk about Arteta because that's the most our current manager. And to go back and compare with Klopp or Solskjaer or Emery, I feel was just almost pointless now because we're so far along since then. But we've got better year on year, and we came second last year. And this year we're 3 points off Man City. So from my perspective, as a season ticket holder, as a fan that's been going for 30 years almost, that's enough for me to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, that's totally cool. Like, I totally get why you wouldn't. But what I'd say is there's certainly more good than bad. And if you have to have a list of things you don't like about Arteta, and Cedric's in that list, and El Nene's in that list, and Pepe's in that list, and Tavares is in that list, then I feel like they're just points for point's sake, because they have nothing to do with the present now. And the present now is that we're 3 points off Man City, the best team arguably in the history of the Premier League. And we are competing there with a youth project, with wasting money on Havertz, all of these things that we don't like. And we're there or thereabouts. So that gives me enough faith to believe in it. The PR side of it, Project Youth, doesn't really matter to me. It's not that deep for me where if a manager says something, they must do it. Otherwise, I'm going to rant about it forever. I feel like we can compete for the Premier League and Champions League. But as Pep proved, the best manager with the best players, spending the most money, it's not guaranteed. It took Pep a long time to win the Champions League with Man City. So who am I to say, Champions League or bust? Who am I to say that? I've never won a Champions League. I've been to Champions League final in 2006. We lost it. Ever since then, it's been shit in the Champions League. So I'm not going to be like, oh man, this young team, this new manager, if you don't win the Champions League, you got to get out. For me, that's unrealistic. So I think we can win it, but are we going to win the Champions League? I mean, it's going to be really fucking hard because there's some awesome teams in it, and we're probably not at that level yet.
I still don't get what you deem as PR from this club and what's not. I think it's most of it is PR, and that's the thing that I don't really understand. You deem our ownership saying that us going for the Champions League and we're moving from Highbury to the Emirates, that's PR. It's PR to want to be European elite. But when they're telling us that they're doing this youth project to win a major honor, ultimately every project is about winning major honors. That is not PR. I don't understand that bit, because for me, you're saying that nothing's guaranteed. Well, Conte won the league, and when I compare us to Liverpool, it's because our clubs are run very, very similar. Liverpool are run on self-sustained. So is Arsenal. So they have not been able to dominate, but they have still been able to win a Premier League title. And they didn't do it with a novice. They did it with a manager that had some experience. So this is why I compare us more to Liverpool than to Man City. Even Arsene Wenger, he lost more times than he won against Fergie, but he still won. Conte still won. There's always still ways to win. I've not said that we're going to dominate, but you can still win. When we were going up against Fergie, that you can pick. I've seen Fergie, and I'm sure you did as well. Yeah, I'm not sure how old you are, but no one said, oh, we can't win against Fergie. Fergie's getting Berbatov and getting Tevez. We can't compete. There was never that acceptance. It was, we have to go again. And this is the thing. There will always be a manager that maybe we don't have the best manager, but even under Wenger, we didn't accept that, oh, we'll just be, the plucky losers or second best. And we weren't spending astronomical amounts of money. We found Van Persie for at a cut price. We fought Adebayor for cut price. We Nasri, Fabregas, Haleb, Son. All these players didn't break the market, but we were still able to compete and get over the line. So we've always been up against this as long as I've been alive. Do you know what I mean? And we're still able to get over the line. And this is the problem, that at the end of the day, this project then has to deliver. Whether you put the pressure on this season or next season, eventually there will be a time where this manager has to deliver. And I don't see this manager delivering.
You want to know something, Northside? Going into the season, I thought that was going to be this year, but the fact that we're not the finished article, the fact that we don't have the striker, the fact that we still have glaring holes in the squad, I'm willing to give the manager next summer to fix those holes and then put the pressure on him next season. That's me. And I would even, to secure him, to make sure he stays with us and we don't potentially lose him to anybody else, I'd even be willing to give him an extension on his contract. That's just me.
The thing is, yeah, right. We look at it now.
But I need to unfortunately move on to the preview because I feel like we're going to
quickly. With the whole Premier League or Champions League, we're in a situation now where, as fans, who are a bit more demanding are looking at it as Premier League or Champions League. That's only because of the way we've thrown away the FA Cup and Carabao. Like, I genuinely, going into this season, I didn't sit there and think we have to win the league, we have to win the Champions League. I just think we
didn't
have
throw it
to
away. We dominated Liverpool.
We
didn't throw it away, bro. We dominated Liverpool. We messed up. We cost ourselves. The game against West Ham, we were shit. But against Liverpool, we just couldn't finish our dinner. We played well. We just couldn't finish our dinner. It was a unfortunate event. It was not a situation where we put out a weakened team. So I can't say we threw it away. We tried our best. We tried our best. We just lost to an equally as good a team as us on the day. And then a couple of weeks later, we showed them levels.
Why couldn't we finish our dinner against Liverpool, which is why we went out?
Because players were missing their opportunities. They weren't clinical.
Right.
We know
so rather
players
than
are
spending 65 million on Havertz and 30 million on a keeper, which we didn't need,
we
have spent that money on someone?
We can't blame everything back. We can't go everything back to Havertz because other players have to deliver too. It's not just one player.
No, I'm not talking about Havertz in particular. I'm just go on, move on.
Let's move on to the West Ham game because I don't want to keep you guys here for too long. I appreciate you guys jumping on the channel and giving me your time on a Thursday night, especially. everyone who's watching. We got over 140 of you guys in the chat. Make sure you do hit that like button. I've seen a lot of balanced views. I see some people picking up Northside, some people picking up Dylan, Harry. Show some love to all my guest people. Be nice to everybody in the chat. And of course, if you disagree with them, challenge their opinions. Submit a super chat. Give us something to let us know what you really think about our opinions, rather than just making jokes about it. But yeah, what we saying about against West Ham people? Are we going with the same team that we played against Liverpool? And I'm going to put it on the screen just to show you guys once again, just so you remember what the team was. This was the team that faced Liverpool. I think this is a very well-balanced team, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jesus is not fully fit, that he goes with the exact same team versus West Ham. What do you guys think?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised.
Yeah, I'd like to see Emil Smith-Rowe come in instead of Jorginho, but otherwise, I think it'll be a similar lineup.
Don't you question Emil Smith-Rowe's ability defensively, especially in front of the likes of Zinchenko? We need a midfielder with more control. That's why Declan Rice probably plays there and Jorginho plays in the 6.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I just think West Ham will be deep enough and will allow us to have the ball. And I just feel like against Liverpool, it was good to have a foundation with Jorginho. But against West Ham, I think there'll be more space for like creative players. So I would prefer to see ESR in there with Havertz and Rice and Odegaard. And also, like, I know Jorginho had an amazing game the other day where he played really, really well. Like, he's not exactly like young anymore, so I think we should manage his game time slightly. And I don't know if he'll be able to replicate the same performance against West Ham. And we need to see ESR scoring some goals and contributing to the team. So I think it's a good chance for him to start.
If he doesn't get much more game time this season, I wouldn't be surprised if he's sold in the summer. But at this moment in time, he needs to just get his self-confidence back and maybe see if he can become part of the team again. But yeah,
listen, that's down on Arteta as well, though. How he's utilised ESR has been way off, in my opinion. Like, he just hasn't utilised him enough. He hasn't trusted him enough. He hasn't
trusted the bench, to be fair. We can criticize Arteta on that. His use of the bench has not been as much as other people, and to the point where in the cup competitions he barely even gave academy players an opportunity, and a lot of people are on to him for that also. But yeah, Northside, what do you think? You playing the same team or you changing it up slightly?
No, I'm changing it up. Is Jesus back?
Jesus is doubtful.
If he's available, take Kai Havertz out of the team. For me, take him out of the team. If you got to use him as an impact sub. I think that's the best use for him. Impact sub with a couple of crosses into the box if we're desperate for a goal. But I would not start Kai Havertz. Jorginho, I'd actually go with Jorginho. I don't see what ESR really brings to this team. I do think he's been unfairly dealt since Arteta's been here. But at the same time, he doesn't give him enough reason. He hasn't given me enough reason to include him apart from running around. Yeah, I still think his end product ain't that great. I would still go with Jorginho and have Declan Rice sitting and protecting the back line. If that's the game plan, then I'd be happy with that. Declan Rice sitting, Jorginho being the creator, because I think that's when he shines. Zinchenko is Timber back?
Sorry?
No. Timber's not back.
No, Timber's back in training.
Might be.
Timber's back in training, but he's not going to play until next month.
Tomiyasu?
Tomiyasu's back.
Yeah. Take Zinchenko out. Because I feel like that's our weakness in our defense. I think if teams target Ben White, I think defensively he's good enough. Our centre-backs are solid. Zinchenko is the missing link. Being caught one-on-one, I still remember against Aston Villa, they scored their one goal through Zinchenko's side. I've seen Salah cooked Zinchenko. Zinchenko's a liability defensively. If anything, try and put Zinchenko in the middle. I think he's a player like Jorginho that is best when he expresses himself going forward. I think he's kind of like Xhaka, and I don't see why we need to keep doing the same mistakes that we did with Xhaka. Asking a player that clearly defensively isn't their strengths, asking them to do defensive duties. Let him be in the midfield. Let him cook. Let him express himself. Most of the time, he spends in the midfield anyway. He creates most of the chances. Zinchenko, yeah, he's more of a.
The reason why playing him in the midfield would actually make us weaker is because the whole point of having him as a left back is having him as an additional person helping in the midfield.
Okay, I do think though, if Timber was fit or Tomiyasu was fit, I think we would have seen Zinchenko play higher up.
Yeah, when Timber is fit.
Yeah, I'm only predicting that, and I'm not trying to say it to cover Havertz, but I do think that would have been in Arteta's mind if Havertz didn't come in and replace Granit Xhaka, which he proved he couldn't do. I do think Arteta would have done what Northside said and used Zinchenko, but because of injuries to Timber and then Tommy Yasu, I don't think we've ever seen that. But on Zinchenko, you're right.
Because we've never seen it, I don't know. All I gotta say
I feel like he would do it because he does it for Ukraine, and he plays really well in midfield for Ukraine. But Northside's right, and especially with Kudos against Zinchenko, like we've seen that story already this season. Zinchenko got done by Kudos a few times, so Zinchenko is a liability. I think it's a bit harsh, but yeah, he definitely makes mistakes against a good left winger.
And
so
Tommy Yasu, before he got injured,
right winger.
before he got injured, he was offering a lot going forward. Let's be fair. I was actually gutted he got injured because I was like, whoa, all right, cool. I want to see a whole season of this.
What about Fabio Vieira? Fabio Vieira had a good start.
No. That filo da puta, bro. No. Don't get me angry, bro. And I'm not affiliating him to me because we're both Portuguese.
Miguel, man, come on, man.
No.
Yo, you guys are harsh.
You asked me.
Miguel,
No.
That's my close.
I don't want to see that guy. Sell that filo da puta immediately. Zinchenko, you put Tomiyasu, yeah? I think all of us can agree. Tomiyasu, before he got injured, played very well. Very well, going forward and defensively. So when you're talking about, okay, he's not going to go inverted. He's going to run down the channel. But if anything, that's going to help Martinelli. Because Martinelli doesn't get somebody overlapping him the way Saka does.
Can I just say this? The first 3 games of the season, the first 4 games of the season, when Fabio Vieira came on versus Fulham, helped us secure the second goal. Manchester United, he basically helped Jesus get that goal where he played him through. Also, the Everton game, he played a full 80 minutes, was good, even though we only won by 1 goal. And I think Fabio Vieira, to start the season, he was showing that he was improving from the season prior. I think we're judging him based on the fact that he wasn't that good last year.
Wasn't it this season ago? Wasn't it as an impact sub? I swear it was this.
As an impact sub, he was good.
Okay, but you're saying starting 11 though. You said,
bro, you want to know something? You want to know something? I don't know if he's ever going to live up. I don't know. Once again,
made a 5-yard pass against Manchester United.
Once again, he's never going to be Bernardo Silva. He's never going to be Bernardo Silva and one of these amazing Portuguese players in the Premier League right now. But what he is an impact player off the bench. And with a team that you said doesn't have a good enough bench, when Fabio Vieira has shown that he can be beneficial to us, he's another player. When he does come back fit, we do have more options because I would rather have him than El Neni coming off the bench. I'd rather have him.
Would you rather have Emil Smith-Rowe coming off the bench or Vieira?
This season, Vieira. This season,
I agree with him on that. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I think he's got ability. I just think it's a mentality thing and it's a physicality thing. Like, I think you're right. There's in moments, with time and space he can do it. But
I don't want to take too much more of your time, guys. You guys have already been here for an hour and 13 minutes. I want to talk about the West Ham game and then close it down. Tell me, guys, we've lost to West Ham twice this season already. Do you believe this is the time where we get over the line and we beat them? And people, go check out my guy. Yeah, go check out Tunnel TV. The best content coming out of Nigeria. I am telling you guys, the best content coming out of Nigeria.
Big up Nigeria in the AFCON, though. Big up to you, man, bro. You know what I mean? You got my revenge over South Africa, so big up to you lot, man.
Yo, you're pissed Cape Verde lost, eh?
Bro. We move. West Ham, we don't have time. All
I have to say is the referees at AFCON are much better than referees in Premier League. It's ridiculous how good they are. They're overturning calls, giving penalties to other team. Amazing. But yeah, long story short, guys, we need to get into this game. Everyone in the chat, let me know what your score prediction is going to be for the West Ham game. Let me know what you guys think of this video so far. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I thought this was a great discussion. No one really went crazy overboard this time because last time we went mental. But hey, I'm going to start off the predictions by saying we have to beat them. Nothing more, nothing less than a win. I want a clean sheet. I don't want Jared Bowen doing anything. I'm putting him on my bench in my fantasy team.
Everyone better. Like last season when we went there.
Listen, I am telling you guys right now, it's going to be a 2-0 Arsenal victory. You're going to have Bukayo Saka bag.
After 10 minutes last season.
You're going to have Martinelli bagging a goal. We're going to be wearing the zebra kit, and we're going to be dancing around like gazelles. Don't worry.
I don't know about you, but I've never seen a green and black zebra. But yo, say, let me know. Thanks.
You know what I mean?
I hope you're right.
I've never seen a green and black zebra, but
Listen.
I hope you're right. I hope we do it, man. This is the perception, yeah. When you got high standards in this fan base, yeah. I'm not saying everybody don't, but the ones that do get a lot of criticism, yeah. I want to be proven wrong, bro. I hope this manager gets us over the line. I hope. But just because I hope doesn't mean that I believe, because I go off facts and I go off what I see and I go off the way I analyze the game and the deficiencies. And like I said, I hope he does, man. I hope we do win against West Ham. If they play a low block, because they just got an arse whipping against Man United, we struggle against that. What are we going to do? Because our front three is ineffective when they don't have space in behind. Odegaard a lot of times likes to play the ball safe. He played very well against Liverpool. I hope he continues that. I hope he does. But there's games where he doesn't. He doesn't play the ball forward. He plays it backwards and sideways. We go on counter-attacks and we play it backwards and sideways. So hopefully we do win against West Ham and hopefully we do win the league, because I'm more than happy to be in the mud if my club win the league. You know what I mean? But anything I say, it's just based on what I see. That's it. I don't let my heart take me, bro. 20 years of disappointment with this club. I don't put my heart into this, man. I put my heart into my family and the people that I love. Man. This club has let me down too much.
I got a question from my boy Jonathan, regular on the channel. Big up Jonathan. Also, go check out Northside's content, bro. He's a good guy. My man said, what would you make of? What would make you believe in Arteta, bro?
Win the league, and I will say on any stream, I was wrong. Super Mikel Arteta, he knows exactly what we need, because I need a Premier League. So that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Are you willing to give him 2 years to deliver it?
Bro, the thing is, it's not even hard to please me, bro. Get back to the level that I started supporting this club. I was born in 92. I grew up on winning trophies, bro. Anyone telling me that I should accept this, why do we say that we're bigger than Tottenham? Winning trophies. So if we compare ourselves to trophies when we compare ourselves to rivals, why should I not want that for my club? Make that make sense. I don't care if it's Mikel Arteta. I don't care if it's the next man. Deliver me the league, bro. I do not care. Do you know what I mean? That is it. That is it. Do you know how many?
And if he wins the Champions League, build him a statue.
Bro, I've seen, bro, and I'm sure all of us, we've seen Adebayor leave, Van Persie leave, bro. I don't build attachments, because when players are not happy, I've always said this, yeah, this is how far we've fallen, yeah. Back when when Tottenham was selling Harry Kane, could we get Harry Kane? But back in the day, I saw Sol Campbell, Tottenham's best player, come to Arsenal. Do you know why? Because the standards were high and we were winning major honors, bro. That is what I want to go back to. I'm not even demanding a Champions League. I want to win it. I'm just asking to go back to where we were when I started supporting this club. That's all. How is that high stand? How is that too much? Listen, Arsenal fans, if you love this manager, if you love these players, if you think we got one of the best players in world football, you should be demanding the same, because you rate this manager, you rate the project, you rate the manager. So you should be demanding the same, because this club, is it not a big club? Well, with a big club status come big boy standards. The problem with this fan base is when you stick big standards, but context what? Are we not one of the biggest? If we're one of the biggest, we should be expecting that. That is what big clubs do. Does Real Madrid not expect it? Does Barcelona? Does Benfica? Does Porto? All the big clubs around expect big honors, bro. That's what comes with being a big club. So welcome. We're now in a title race. We should be demanding now to win it. That's what happens when you're a big club. Demands go up. That's it. If not, don't tell me about Tottenham, because you man banter Tottenham all the time that they don't want to win anything. But then a lot of this fan base are happy to not win anything. Tell me what the difference is.
All right, what are you saying, Dylan and Northside? What's your score prediction for Sunday? Sorry. Score predictions.
I think it's one of them. I think it'll be tight. Or if we score early, like last season.
Are you going, by the way?
Huh?
Are you going?
Yeah. I think yes. West Ham's is a weird one, you know. I got to think. You know what? Yeah, call me crazy. I think some Premier League pitches are a bit small. I think that West Ham pitch, yeah, when they play a low block, it's particularly hard to break them down. Like, it's hard to score against West Ham when they play a low block. I think we'll win. I think it'd be silly not to win after beating Liverpool. I couldn't put a score prediction on it, but if I have to, I'll say 3-1. I'll say 3-1 Arsenal. If I have to put something on it, I think we'll win 3-1 again. But it's definitely not going to be easy. But it could be one of them games where we think it's not going to be easy, and then we go there and roll them over 4-0 or something, or 5-1 like we did in 2017 or 16. Yeah, 16. Like you never know. With West Ham, you never know what you're going to get. To be fair with that club, you never know.
All right, Harry, what you saying? What's your prediction?
I mean, what I think will happen is I think it will be like a dodgy 1-0 to us, where it's quite a tough game and we maybe score from a corner or something. But what I want to happen, and my actual prediction is going to be 4-0. I think Erdegaard scores. I think Declan Rice scores. I think Martinelli scores from a counter attack.
Declan Rice scores and knee slides in front of us. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, so I'm gonna go 4-0. Mainly because I think we need to start scoring some goals. If we're gonna compete for this league, it might even come down to goal difference, and we need to get our goal difference up. So, like, yeah, if we want to talk about standards and stuff, and let's go there and like, show everyone what we're made of, right? It will be totally us if we, off the back of Liverpool, go away at West Ham and stink the place out. Do you know what I mean? It would just be the Liverpool game counts for nothing. Counts for absolutely nothing if we go to West Ham and stink it up.
Yeah,
so yeah,
that's exactly what Northside said to me after we beat Liverpool. What do you think, Northside? What's your prediction?
You know what? If we replicate how we played against Liverpool, I'm going with 2-1. Yeah.
2-1. Okay, fair enough. Everyone in the chat, I'm going with a 2-0 Arsenal victory. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll definitely be sending out some clips there. Big up Northside for jumping on. Big up Dylan for jumping on, of course. And big up Harry. Hopefully I catch you guys after a beautiful West Ham victory. And in the next 5 games, we got a good run. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I want 15 points. I need minimum 15 points. You want to talk about standards, Northside? That's standards for you. Let's get this show started. Let's get this show ended. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. We're out of here, people. Love for the love. I'll catch you guys on the next one.